Hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome. Nicoleta, Alex, Vic. Nice to be here. This beautiful day. Today is a quite pleasant day here in the northeast of Brazil, where I live with my family. We're very close to the beach, so I can smell the presence of the sea in the wind, even that I can see it. I can feel it, which is something beautiful to share with you. Today, I'm very excited to join the beginning of this course that I love. I honestly love to share the offerings, the Andean offerings, and especially starting in this day. This day is a ritualistic date. Today it's the equinox, which is not just an astronomical event. There's something affecting the landscape wherever we are in. It's like a communal event, a global event, not an internet event. It's something related to the land. So that's the power of this day. We're going to talk about this just in a bit. But now I want to present myself. I'm Rama. I am been sharing for some time my experience, what I've learned, what I've practiced in relationship of my passion, which is the Andean philosophy, the Andean healing, the Andean way. I was born in Argentina and I've been traveling around the world. I lived in Europe for some years, but I came back as an engineer working for an NGO, and I met these people in the high mountains of Peru, little villages spread in a vast space of land full of mountains and deep valleys. Those people, they call themselves Queros. I went there for helping them with a developing project. But suddenly and quite fast, I realized that I was in a wrong space of a relationship with them. I realized that I was going to learn more than give my advice or manage a project. Finally, after almost 20 years, I've been visiting, living, understanding, and being family with them. And for some years now, I've been trying to translate the culture, the philosophy, the attitudes towards the world to enrich our world. I think that it's not just interesting or curious to learn about Andean traditions. I think they have an answer for most of the conflicts we have as societies, as a global society. We're going to talk a bit about this later. But I want to focus this conversation in the offerings. And first, I want to tell you a little story about my first encounter with an offering. We went to the mountains, as I said, as I was an engineer, and we were going to install solar panels to these little huts and improve their wood stoves. They used to produce a lot of smoke, so we wanted to improve the quality of combustion. A very technical thing, difficult thing and technical. But the thing is, when we arrived, we had like 10 days visit to these valleys. And the first, the second, the third day, it was raining, pouring raining. It was like impossible to even come out of the place we were staying, a school. So we were there like 3 days, just at the beginning, a bit annoyed, but at the end, like praying, please, we need this rain to stop. Otherwise, we couldn't develop all the activities we wanted to improve the people's life. So in the third day at the afternoon, one of the masters, at the moment, I recognize him as an elder of the community. He was a priest from the community, Matthias, and he came and said, you should ask to the mountains permission for your project. And I said, but what does it mean? How can I do that? And he says, we need to make a haiwarikui. Haiwarikui is the name, a Quechua name for offering. Okay, what should we do? So at that night, we gathered in a very small hut made of stones and wood and a thatch roof. Very small, very intimate. We, in the mission, we were, I think, 6, 7 technicians. And we joined like 6 or 7 elderly men and women, people from the village, in a very dark place, just a little light. They had, I think it was a candle or a lantern. It was very intimate, the atmosphere. So they started to take out from a bag, a handmade bag, beautiful. They are weavers, so they create beautiful bags. So they started to take out a piece of paper and little packages with seeds and sugar and grains and flowers and petals and coca leaves, and they started a very formal ceremony, but at the same time very relaxed. There was no tension. It was just a humble, relaxing atmosphere, especially because we were all sat down in the floor. We were all in the floor, like children playing with things that we just stole from our mother's kitchen. Just little things, and they were creating this kind of mandala. Very delicate, very precise as well. They were just putting a flower in an exact position, and this and that, and there was some kind of symmetrics. I was very interested on this. And finally, they made a lot of little gestures. They wrapped the offering. They made something very strange for me, like they were just rubbing this bundle into all the people's body. And then the master says that he was going to burn it. I was so intrigued. What's the point of make all this beautiful thing and then we burn it? Okay. I was just open to the experience. The day after, it was a shiny day. And all the rest of the week, we had excellent weather. And maybe you can say, well, it was just chance. It was just a change of winds or whatever happens with the climate. But I like to remember that as a way of establishing some kind of agreement with the forces that order life in the landscape. From that moment, I started to learn how to play this game. The offering is a game for them. It's a sacred game. Actually, they use the word. I'm going to write it here in the chat. Puklei. Puklei is like the attitude of playing. Playing is essential for the spiritual path of the Andean traditions. You should play as a child. And I've got 4 daughters, and I've been spending a lot of time with them playing. And I realize how a child plays. Suddenly, as an adult, we see them in a despective way. But a child is completely focused and serious in what he or she is doing. She takes a piece of just follow my image. This child is taking a piece of plastic with the shape of a lion made in China, travel all the way around the world to be purchased, but that's not important for the child. The important thing is that this lion is a real lion. This piece of plastic is a lion with the capability to communicate with me. The attitude of Puklei is to break the boundaries that we usually as adult human beings create to reificate the reality, make it objects that are controllable, that are manageable. Well, when we play, suddenly all the details, all the objects that we were using, suddenly they become subjects. So the attitude of the Haiwarikul is an attitude of sacred game. I've been participating of, thousand, no, not maybe thousand, no, hundred of ceremonies, participating and guiding those ceremonies. And every ceremony, every ritual of a Haiwarikui is linked to two conditions, very essential conditions. The first one is the personal and collective urgency, need, a crisis, an illness, a deep need for answers, an existential crisis. All those conditions are essential. Urgency. We go to an offering urgent of communication. Communication with who? Communication with the forces that organize the landscape. We used to call it the spirits. And the second ingredient is the time and space. The offering should be performed in a specific and how to say this in English? Space and time should be connected to our urgency. So we choose the middle of the night or the dawn or the midday in a specific time of the day, in a specific time of the month, in a specific time of the year. In August, people from all the Andes, they perform a beautiful ritual that we're gonna make this offering later. It's called Pachamama Haiwarikul, which is the offering to Pachamama to recognize the mother of the landscape, to call for her appreciation, for her wisdom, for her protection, to allow ourselves to plant the seeds and harvest fruits. That specific time, that specific offering is related to the beginning of the work of the fields. Before touching the earth, before plowing the earth, before using any tool on the earth, we have to recognize the force. I'm looking into my garden in that direction. The force of the ground, the soil, the earth. So we need to have an urgency, and we need to have the specific time and space. I was mentioning time. The space is related to a place of openness, of fluidity. Sometimes we can make an offering in our house, but we sometimes need to travel to the base of a mountain or in the shore of the sea or in the side of the lake. Depending on the offering, depending on the conditions of the offering, the peasants go and travel to the top of the mountain, to the bottom of the mountain, to the side of the lake, depending on which sound, which music you want to hear during the ceremony. I was talking about urgency, and I would like to mention this, which is very important. The offering is not just related to my urgency, my individual need. The offerings as well are like a message to the fabric of life, if you want to call it. They, as maybe you have heard or seen, that the Andean people used to make their own thread. They are weavers. They make beautiful clothing and different fabrics with different colors, and they use a lot of contrast in their aesthetics. So they have this fabric as a not just metaphorical, literal presence. It's a living metaphor. So life is seen as a poncho. Maybe you know this word poncho. It's like a fabric. It's extended fabric. Everything is like intertwined fibers. Every one of us, me, Ulrich, Alex, Nicoleta, or Vic, are just threads that are intertwined, and not just us, but the trees and the wind and the insects and the vast community of the earth. Everything is intertwined. Every time we come out of the flow of harmony, we start to perceive some kind of disturbances. What is illness? What is a crisis? What is finally the urgency to go to an offering? We recognize disturbances in the harmony of our life, or the structure that we create as life. Some kind of disturbance, like noise between me, my body, the needs of my body, the needs of my dreams. There are disturbances, and we got diabetes, or we got depressed. Something happens in the relationship between my body and the world. Those disturbances awaken a force inside. A balance is out of balance, and there start to happen a desviation of the natural balance. That desviation creates tendencies, and tendencies finally become crisis, and crisis allows new orders. That applies to our body, and that applies, the same thing applies to our social relationships, the politics, the countries. They have the same pattern. There's some kinds of disturbances to the structures of society. Suddenly there are desviations. Those desviations create tendencies, and suddenly the way we used to see reality changes, shift to some other order. Just look into your own countries. Just look into, especially a perfect example right now, America. The US is shifting the way of seeing reality. You can agree if it's good or if it's bad. Well, that's another debate. But there's a shift. After crisis, a shift. We should realize, for example, that the climate change is a crisis that starting to create disturbances as a whole, because maybe sometimes we don't realize this, but we live in a planetary community, a finite planet. We share that planet. We share the wind. The wind. If I uh, contaminate the wind here is going to pollute the wind to my neighbor. So we live in a community, the planetary community. So every disturbance creates new needs for change. Finally, what I want to say is that urgency, nourished by the crisis we live, are taking us to the offering in pursuit for transformation, change, for new order. This new order is not related on my will. This is the most beautiful thing of the offering. I'm not going to the offering to gain some kind of special power to dominate the world and bring the odds in my way. I go to the offering in a completely humble and small attitude to start a dialogue with the forces that are bigger than me and recognize their direct influence and my essential interdependence. So that dialogue brings me to the possibility of recognize this new order as an answer to this dialogue. I can perceive the purpose. So my urgency is answered as a shift of my decisions, a shift of my behavior, a shift of the way I relate to the world. In that sense, I'm a curious person. I've been reading a lot of things. I've been playing a lot of games in my life. And I studied philosophy for some time. And I was fascinated of this idea of this French philosopher, Michel Foucault, especially on the concept of apparatus. Apparatus is an idea, a concept of realizing how certain cultural elements dominates our behavior, dominates our life. An apparatus is many various elements that are together in a strategic function to respond to the need of control, especially from the government or the spheres of power on societies. And it creates a power relationship to the people that are engaging with this apparatus to control, to manage, to manage behavior. Finally, to create and produce subjectivity. And finally, just accept the truth. We don't realize, but we are, that's the idea of Foucault, that we are incarcerated through this apparatus. In that sense, I realized that the offerings, this little gesture, it's an apparatus, but in another way. It's made of various elements with a strategic function. It responds to the urgency, as I was saying right now. It responds to the urgency of dialogue. The crisis is the recognition of the loss of communication between us as human beings, but not just us, the communications with everything. That's the beauty of the Andean traditions. They are animates. Everything is alive and everything can communicate each other. We can talk, not literally, but we can establish some kind of communication with the tree, a communication with the mountain, a communication with the wind. Right now, it's a bit windy. I don't know if you can see it in the background. If I'm sensitive enough, if I use properly my imagination, I can establish a dialogue with the wind. Then I call the wind in Quechua language, Taitaguaira, the father wind, because if I can speak or communicate with the wind, it's part of my family. So everything is part of my family. I have my family here around, everything, everyone, the pans of my kitchen. I love to cook. So the pans of my kitchen are not just my friends, they're part of my family. The pen I used to write is not just an object. No, someone gave it to me as a gift, but it's not just something made in somewhere in an industry. It's that specific subject that I love and I enjoy to use to write. That kind of relationship is allowed by the offering, the ritual of the offering. And the consequence is not a relationship of power, but a relationship of appreciation, a relationship of appreciation of the beauty of being alive, beauty of having whatever we have, not just in terms of material, but everything that is part of my life, my work, or whatever I do, my friends, my siblings, whatever is around my life suddenly becomes alive and I can appreciate the beauty of it. So the possibility of the offering is, in the other way of power, an integration, a deep connection. What I love to use this word, intimacy. The offering allows to create an intimate relationship with everything. And finally, make us not a dominated subject, but a relational subject. In Quechua language, we call it runa. Runa means not just a person, but a quality of person. A person who is free to engage, willing and free to engage. The freedom is related to the ability of establishing dialogues with everything, with everyone. So an offering, it's a concrete technology, if you want, or wisdom, maybe it's a better word, to produce a specific type of answer of the urgency, what I need, my praise, what I pray for. There are different names. As I mentioned, Haiwari, Ui, that's in Quechua language. That means literally to something to offer with your hands. That's Haiwariku. But usually you can listen to this in Spanish, despacho, or pago, or pagamento. Words related to like payment. You pay your debts, or you pay what you agreed. In that sense, people from the Andes made the offering to realize that there's a kind of agreement with the landscape. The landscape answers with the blessing of the harvest, the blessings of health, the blessing of the rain, the blessing of the sun, the wind, the blessing of having children, or having dreams, or having ideas. All those blessings are the answers of what I pray for, offer to the place, to the territory, to the landscape. So this ceremony, because it's a ceremony, it's a proper ceremony. There's some structure on this. There's a performance, like a protocol with steps, clear steps, that is more related to art, especially to handcraft. People from Queros, they make everything with their hands. They are planting potatoes, looking after alpacas and llamas, but all the time they're making their own threads, and then they are weaving, and then with all that hand focus activities, they use their hands, strong hands, in a very delicate way, to place all those little elements in an offering, in a very delicate way. So an offering is like we are writing a letter to the divine, to Pachamama, the Mother Earth, to the Apu, the mountain that look after the valley, to Taita Inti, the sun, to Mama Kilia, the moon, to the different kind of spirits that are engaging with our world. I know that maybe it could sound a bit silly to say this in your society, but the sun is an archetype. You can find that the quality of the sun in your own culture, the light that comes from the sky, the clarity, the lucidity, the warmth, the father. You will realize that, for instance, the Christianity has Jesus as an archetype of the sun. So every time we say Jesus, we can at the same time say Taita Inti, the name of the sun. And they are the same archetype. When we use the word Pachamama, the mother of the earth, a feminine, gentle, caring archetype, you will realize that it resembles the idea of Mother Mary in the Christianity. So you will realize that the archetypes, like a force of order, of human experience, are present in different cultures. So, especially today, as we are getting close to the first hour, the second hour, we're going to spend our time in making our offering. Today is a very specific and beautiful moment of the year. It's an astronomical event. We are just in the middle. Today, actually, it's tomorrow, but we are almost there. The sun comes in the east, finally in the east. You have learned maybe you have learned in school that the sun always rise from the east, but actually it's not. It's not correct. The sun travels from north to south all the year long, but 2 days in the year comes out from the east and go to sleep in the west, in the equinox. So the equinox are this point of balance. It's like a pause. It's like the space and time suddenly pause. After you breathing in, there's a pause before breathing out. It's like a little gap. That's the equinox. And in the Andes, in the old times, they used to make this amazingly beautiful ceremony, which is a celebration, which is called Koya Raimi. Koya Raimi. Koya Raimi means literally the celebration of the queen or of the feminine, the feminine, sacred feminine, Koya Raimi. And especially inside the Koya Raimi, there was a beautiful ceremony which is called Situa. Situa. The Situa was a very surprising ceremony, and it could give us some ideas of what's going on. What was the perception of, especially the Incas in the Incas times? It was important, especially in Cusco. How was the perception of the time and space in those times? The Situa was a celebration in relationship to the mother, to the feminine, and it was a communal cleansing. Imagine, maybe you have participated in a cleansing ceremony. Just some people gather and they perform some kind of gestures to clean out your body, physical body. You can make a diet, or you can drink some kind of tea, or even take some kind of psychedelics to create some cleansing. But always just related to a group of people. Imagine an entire city, all that city. In the first day of the Situa, they asked all the dogs. That was odd. They used to take out the dogs because the dogs bark to the moon, and they didn't want to disturb the moon. So they take out all the dogs out of the city. I think it was all these details that I'm reproducing to you, I'm sharing with you, are related to the chronists, the Spaniard that arrived and they gathered information. They started to write stories about the ceremonies, the old ceremonies. So they used to take, I think it was 12 kilometers out of the city, dogs, sad people, ill people, and foreigner out of the city. And then they started to clean out all the house, just all the dusts, all the mattresses, everything that it was still in the house. They needed to take out and clean, use water, just clean out everything in the house. And then they use a paste made of corn and alpaca's blood. It's called jaguar sanku, jaguar sanku. And with this paste, they put it in all the openings of the house. And they used to put them in the forehead. And some anthropologists connected this attitude of using this red paste to menstruation. And it makes all sense. They used to wear red clothing during all the ceremonies. They used to chant and take ablutions, which is sacred bath in the springs, and celebrate and bring the mummies. They used to bring the old ancestors out to chant and clean and share this Yawarsanku, a very important ritual paste. And then they used to clean themselves. Listen to this, is very interesting. They used to use a torch made of straw. It's called pankunku. Pankunku. They used to light the top of this bunch of straw, and they used to hit each other, like playing, but at the same time cleaning with a bit of fire and smoke and ashes, each other, cleaning everything, cleaning out, taking out the disease, taking out and renewing the womb of the Tawantinsuyu. Tawantinsuyu is the proper name of the Incas Empire. Tawantinsuyu was the name of all the ways, all the directions. That's the translation for Tawantinsuyu. Tawantinsuyu. All the directions together. So after the second day, the celebrations should spread to the rest of the Tawantinsuyu. So it was a communal celebration. All the little and big cities of the Tawantinsuyu was celebrating this moment. So this, if you were following me, this ritual, this feminine ritual, seems to metaphoricize the menstruation, like a cleansing of the womb to be ready to receive the new seeds. Actually, it was this offering, this ritual was before they started to put the seeds in the soil. In the Pachamama's day, they started to move and prepare the soil. After the situa, they put the seeds in the soil. So imagine a communal ceremony, cleansing and chanting and celebrating the feminine. There was forbidden to talk about debts, to talk about any disagreement, or even being angry, because they needed to exaltate the joy for the rest of the day, for the rest of the year. It was like influencing the rest of the year with that joy. So that, even that we lost that kind of ritual or rituality, we are willing to bring that essence to the offering we will develop in a few minutes. So I would like to have a little pause here. We're gonna just go to the toilet and prepare the last details to share the second part of this moment, which is the offering. We're gonna make the offering together. If you don't have all the elements to share with us the offering, to make your own offering in your place, you can join the intent as I'm making the offering here. But I'm inviting you to try to find those elements in the next days to avoid lose this element of time. The equinox is today, tomorrow, a few days like Monday, Tuesday, but it's this opportunity just to recognize the opportunity. We can't control the time. It's this moment of the year. So we have to find a way to make this happen. So I'm going to put some music, and in 10 minutes time, I'm going to come back and we're going to start our Hai Warikui, our offering to Pachamama. So I see you in past 8, right? So see you in a bit. Okay, I'm ready here. I'm gonna try to use two cameras for you to follow along during this offering. I'm gonna show you the other camera so you can see how it's going. I had the setup of all my offering with all the elements that I gather. I send you a document explaining the gathering. It's essential. It's like you getting different toys in in your kitchen, or even the best thing is not just to buy it. If you can grow it, it's better. If you grow corn in your vegetable garden, it's great. If you can do whatever things in during the offering, is better. In the old days, they didn't use paper as we are going to use it right now. They used to weave this called mastana. It's like a piece of fabric, very beautifully made to offer to the spirits. So they made the best mastanas to then gather all the offerings and sometimes burn it or bury it or leave it to the waters of the river. Today, we're going to make this Pachamama offering. It's like a call for the mother, a call for the feminine energy, a call for renewal, a call for cleansing, a call for surrendering, a call for recognizing aspects of ourselves that are um, urgent to sprout, right? So it's a connection with our emotions, a connection with our difficulties, a connection with our gratitude. It's a self recognition, moment of reflection, moment of reflection. So to start the offering, we are going to, usually in the Andes, they make this previous moment, which is called Pacoy, to call the spirits. We are not making it today because it's gonna take a lot of time, and I don't want to bother you with all that. But later, as this is the opening class of our Andean offering course, we will learn in the other classes the proper Pacoy ritual, which is a beautiful and delicate offering of intent, offering of attention, offering of caring. But I'm just going to help. This is a very traditional altar. It's called Misa. Is where all the people who are connecting with the Andean wisdom and traditions, we can improve the dialogue with the landscape. Here inside there are stones and sticks and different elements to connect with the spirits of the landscape. So I'm going to use my Misa just to call, in a simple way, to call the presence of the spirits here in my place, and you can do the same with your place. Just if you don't have a Misa, just put your hands in your heart. I'm going to put my Misa in my heart. Close your eyes. Acknowledge the simple fact of being alive through your breath. just for that simple fact, starts to spring from our heart most beautiful perfume, the gratitude. And with that, we're going to just call the name of the spirits that are present here and now. I'm going to call the spirits of the east, Taita Waira, the winds. So I'm going to breathe in and shout the name, call for the name of the wind. Hampoi Taita Waira. Then I'm going to call the spirits of the south, the fire, Taitanina. Hampoi Taitanina. Then I'm going to call the spirits of the west, the waters, Mama Kocha, a feminine spirit. Hampu Mama Kocha. Then I'm going to call the spirits of the north, the earth, Alpa Mama. Hampu Alpa Mama. And now I'm going to call the spirit of the existence, whatever is behind, underneath us. Pacha, Pachamama. Hampui Pachamama. I'm going to call the spirits of the sky, the Father, Taita Inti. Hampui Taita Inti. And finally, I'm going to call the spirit that unites all of us, Munei Sonko. Hampui Munei Sonko. The heart of life. Now you can have just a little moment to recognize all the god and goddesses, the divine aspects that you pray for, you call for, you offer. And with all those presents, we're going to start our offering. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to change the camera here so you can see better. I'm going to take the wine or the dark spirit. I have cognac here. So I'm going to put it in this ceremonial glass. It's made of wood. It's called kettle. It's a very important, very old actually. It was a gift. It's a ceremonial vessel or a ceremonial cup. Because we are going to make the first step of the ritual called chayai, which is, the translation for this is to give, to call for the spirits to eat with us. So I'm going to blow on the spirit. As I blow, I turn this liquid, this wine, the spirit, alive and full of my spirit. So we blow on this, and I'm going to spread it in the ground. So I'm going just to take it into my garden in a second. Okay, so we give the earth to drink. I'm gonna pour a bit more of this cognac. You can use wine or the dark uh, spirits work for Pachamama. So now I'm gonna start to find if I have all the elements. I just gonna spend a moment to explain you the act of the paper. The paper is like open consciousness. The all the universe, the microcosmos is here. It's open right now. So it's like a blank universe, and we're gonna create this microcosmos through our offering. So beforehand, if you have this paper, you should fold it to make it easier later on. To fold it previously, first in 3 parts, right? And then in 3 parts in the sides, like this, and mark it. You can mark it with your fingers, because when you open the pack, you unfold the paper, you will notice that there's a mark here. This is our field of game. We're gonna play in that field. We're gonna put all the elements in this field. Okay. So we're gonna usually in a traditional offering, we used to have coca leaves. I have coca leaves, but it's not so easy to get them. So you can use bay leaves, or even eucalyptus, or any kind of leaf that you feel that is sacred in your landscape. So it shouldn't be too big, but it shouldn't be too small as well. So in this size is great, this size. Usually in a traditional offering, we will make the pichai, which is sharing the coca leaves to chew, to bring a specific state of consciousness. It's not a psychedelic. The coca leaves are not psychedelic, but it brings some kind of vibration to anyone who chew the leaves. So I want you to find 3 leaves of, if you have coca leaves or any kind of leaves, 3 leaves. These 3 leaves are the beginning of our offering. This is called kintu. Kintu. Kintu, right here. Kintu means 3, and it represents the father, the mother, and the son. Taita Inti, Pachamama, and Munay Sonko, the common heart. So these 3 leaves are the beginning of our offering. I'm going to take these 3 leaves. I'm going to put it in my heart. And I'm going to begin the offering, just letting silently my heart to speak to the leaves. So I just close my eyes, and I'm just willing to make a canal between, a channel between my heart and the leaves, like my heart whispering the urgency to the leaves. And I blow them, and I'm going to just pass them into the wine, right? just moist them into the wine. And I'm going to put them in the center. So they are the center of my offering. Then I take other 3 leaves, and I'm going to start to create the world. I'm going to open the left side of my offering and the right side of my offering. The left side is related to Pachamama, the right side is related to Ayni. So I take 3 leaves, I blow them, and I put them into the wine, and I'm going to put it in the left side, Pachamama, blow, and put it in the right side, masculine, the Apu, another 3 leaves, again blowing, and I'm going to place them on top of my offering related to the Hanak Pacha, the sky. So every time I mention something, just let the poetics grow in yourself. Connect with your own experience. If I say sky, what comes into your mind? So my sky is present in my offering. And again, another 3 leaves, and I'm going to represent the ground, the soil. So every time I went to the garden, I dug the garden, I placed my feet on the ground, the Ujus Pacha in Quechua language. Then I'm going to place other quintus in the connections of the directions. This is east always in an offering or in the misa. The east is on top, east, north, east, south, west, and north, right? So I'm going to take another 3 leaves. And place them in between the directions. So we finally close like a circle of quintus, like a gathering of quintus. Okay, last quintu. You should have like 50 leaves to choose the best leaves. So gonna make the last quintu and put it in the intermediate direction. Okay. Now I'm going to use petals, red petals. I have these little flowers, but you can use carnation or roses. red is the color of Pachamama, so I'm going to use it in the left side, which is red is for Pachamama and white is for the apple or the masculine aspect. Okay. I have these white flowers for the apple. Just playing with the elements. You can see just leaves, flowers, and starting to create some beauty with it. Okay, now I'm going to use sugar, and the sugar represents like sugar represents the 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 um, the sweetness of the first taste we the first thing we taste as human beings is the milk of the breast of our mother, which is sweet. So the sweet is related to the mother. So I'm going to use white sugar for the apple. So I'm going to spread a bit of sugar. And as I do this, you can bring the sweetness of on your life. I'm going to use dark brown sugar to the feminine, to the Pachamama's side. So sweetness. Now I'm going to use some grains. I have corn from our vegetable garden, as well as beans, they're from our vegetable garden, lentils that we bought, and quinoa we bought from Peru. So all of them are related to the abundance, to abundance in terms of food, abundance in terms of money. They use lentils that they have this shape of coins. So money is important to our life. So we're going to call for having enough money to have all our wishes and to help others. Money as an energy of creativity, an energy of caring, an energy of protecting and helping others. So money, food, the corn is called mamasara, which is very important for the Andean traditions. It's related to nutrition, so I'm going to use them too. Quinoa is another grain, but you can use other kind of grains that you have in your house. So you can use rice, you can use wheat, different kind of grains that represent abundance, or the material abundance, like, as I said, money and other aspects that are related to abundance. So I'm going to use them like drawing something with them. I'm going to use lentils and beans in the side of Pachamama, which they are more brown and dark. And I'm going to use corn in the side of the apple. as well as quinoa. It's great. So now we're going to use, I have an herb that is growing in my garden. This herb is related to the liver. It's called boldo. It helps to heal the liver. And I have some difficulty for this aspect of my body, the liver. So I love to use boldo. So I'm going to bring with this herb my need for health, my need for having a healthy body, a functioning body, everything that is in pain in my body, every aspect of health in my life and in the others' life, people around me. I'm going to ask with this. I'm going to pray and ask with this herb for a healthy life. So just hold it in your hands for a moment. Imagine what is going on in your body. If you have an illness, if you have some pain or a difficulty, and bring that story into the leaf of the plant. And then blow and place the leaves in your offering. So these leaves are bringing us healthy life to heal the body. Okay. Just play with it. Find the ways to put it. There's not a right play, a right way. There's not a right way to place the elements. It's just use your intuition and find your own aesthetics as you play with it. Okay. Now I'm going to use chocolate to represent pleasure, to represent lust, to represent passion for life, passion for whatever we do. It's important to have this fire of passion and lust, not in a bad way, but lust in the sense of loving what we do, loving others, loving the relationship with others. So the chocolate is this pleasure thing. As we love chocolate, Pachamama loves chocolate. So I'm gonna put chocolate in my offering. Okay. I'm going to place in the offering some candies, colorful candies. It brings the childhood into our offerings, the colorful childhood. We love to eat candies, so candies are essential for our offerings. So as we place them, we should even want to eat them before placing in the offering as children. So just bring your child, being your children, your child, in your inner child, that's what I want to say, your inner child, into this moment. Blow into the candies and spread them in the offering. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to put some biscuits, I think it's in English, to represent the material aspect of our life, our work. Everything we do with work. Usually they used to put some cookies in the shape of an animal because they look after alpacas and llamas. They have livestock, but it represents work. Everything you do for a living, it will represented by these biscuits, with these cookies. So I'm gonna bring everything that is disturbing myself in my work, or everything that I'm grateful in my work, everything I need to develop better my work. So I just take a moment to feel what I want to ask to Pachamama to improve my relationship with work. And then I blow. And I'm going to place the cookies. Now I'm going to use, I send you in the list raisins, right? But I have something very local here. This is dried caju, not caju nut, but the fruit of the caju that is very similar to raisins. And raisins, or all dry fruits, represents the ancestors. What is ancestor? What is an ancestor? It's not just my father, the father of my father, the mother of my mother, my grandfather, my great-grandfathers, not just the people, but all the events that happened in the past that allow me to be here and now. It's like a stream of vital force that was shaping events, circumstances that make me be here and now alive. So I am grateful for them, and I ask my ancestors to guide me, to inspire me to be present in my life. So I blow, and I'm going to make like a round in the outside of my offering to protect me, to bless me. The ancestors. And this is the time to remember your grandfather, your great-grandfather, your great-grandmother, your past, whatever happened in your past. Okay. I'm going to use here, I have some mate powder, mate leaves, right? But you can use coffee, you can use tea. It's a stimulant herb to symbolize the need of intensity, the push that we need to make in our life to have will and interest for life, like the active aspect of our life. So I'm going to ask for this stimulation of the spirit of the herb to bring that spirit in my life. So just take a bead, I blow gently. I'm going to put mate in my offering. Okay. Now we're getting to the middle of our offering. I'm going to use cotton, which is going to make as a bed. This is a natural cotton growing in my garden. So there are some seeds on here. So I'm going to use cotton to represent the clouds and the possibility of rain. So I want to ask for rain, for clouds, for humidity in my life, in my garden, in my city. So I'm going to blow to call for the clouds. I'm going to place like a little bed in the middle of my offering. Now I'm going to use a shell to represent the feminine, like a uterus. And I'm going to put some butter, animal fat, inside it. Because in the Andean traditions, butter, actually, they don't use butter, they use fat. It's called untu, is alpaca's fat. It's very important for them. So just spread some butter because it represents kalpa. Kalpa is like the power of the will. So I'm going to use this kalpa in the uterus and place it in the middle of our little bed that we created. Now I'm going to take the little dolls, masculine and feminine. My children made it. I asked them to make a little figure of masculine and feminine, so they made these little dolls with flower. So it represents the couple. It's not about gender. It's not man and female. It's about the couple. It's about recognizing the opposites which are correspondent. It's called yanantin. Yanantin is to recognize the other as the possibility, is an opposition to us. The other is an opposition to us. But we need to find a way to correspond, to match, to love each other. So I'm going to bring all the relationships with it. It doesn't matter if you're a man, a woman, or whatever. Important is to recognize the other as my partner, my couple, my opposite correspondent. So blow on it. We're gonna place it, the feminine in the feminine side, the masculine in the masculine side, on top of the shell. And especially for the Pachamama's offering, we're going to use a little house, which represents the family, the place we live, the shelter, the place we can rest, a place that we can rest. So we're going to ask always to have a place we can rest, we can recover. So we're going to blow on top of this little house and place it in our offering. I'm going to use, as we use the shell, I'm going to use a piece of cinnamon, a little stick of cinnamon to represent the masculine aspect. So blow in it and put it close to the shell. Okay. Now we are almost done. I'm gonna use just a piece of yarn, red and white. It represents feminine and masculine, and we're going to intertwine them, like mixing them, and it's going to opening our ways. It's like it represents the opening of the ways, to open our ways, to make everything that is stopping our movement to be open, to make flow everything that is holding us, just opening the ways. Finally, I'm going to use confetti to bring some colorful elements to our offering, like a celebration. Okay. And we're going to end with some flowers. I have some flowers here. I'm going to bring flowers from my garden to bring beauty as the essential element of this offering. The recognition of the beauty of our life. So I'm going to place some flowers around my offering. Okay. So to end this offering, we won't put anything else. There are some little gestures that we are going to do. I'm going to place my hands. You can, if you are not making the offering, you can just place your hands on front of the camera. It doesn't matter. It's just trying to be part of it. Trying to be part of it. Just place your hands and imagine that you are giving to this offering all your stories, your painful stories and your joyful stories. Everything that it tells your story. It's called hucha. Just allow it to come out from your body and spread it into the offering. And finally, I'm going to call the spirits to see what we have done. And I'm going to call them singing the belly and the rattle. Okay, so now we are ready to close our offering. As we made this previous fold, it's easier to fold. Okay. And I'm going to tie it with the thread. And finally, I'm going to put some flowers to make it beautiful. The flowers you gather in your garden if you have one. Okay, so that's the end of our offering, but just a little detail. I have a traditional mastana here, so I'm gonna wrap it here. Usually in the traditional offering, they make this. I'm gonna change the camera so you can see it. Oops. Here. So when they make the offering, they wrap it with a mastana, and they pass everyone that is participating in the offering to clean them. It's like rubbing them with the offering. In this act, we are giving all the dense energy to the offering. It's like all the painful stories or the intense stories to the offering. Finally, what we do with this is two possibilities. Or burn it. We have to make a big fire and burn it. I'm gonna send a little writing details about how to end this offering. We have to burn it in a strong fire, right? Or you can bury it in a place where your praise are going to slowly go to the spirits. So, as you can see, it's a very simple, childish, if you want, way to communicate your urgency, to communicate your crisis, to communicate your difficulties. And during the act of doing it, you start to become more lighter, more gentle, more humble, right? So this is the beginning of this course. I'm going to, if you are not registered to the course, I'm going to send here in the chat here the link for the site where you can find the information to register. And the ones who already register, you will receive a writing with some text about this offering, specifically from the offer to Pachamama, little details. And we're gonna meet again in 2 weeks' time. Saturday, it's gonna be the 4th of October. So we're gonna gather in the second meeting. We're gonna make another offering, different offering, related to the apus, related to the masculine side. Today we were in this feminine ritual. In the next time we're gonna have a masculine ritual, and what we are asking for the apu, for the mountain of our landscape. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'm going to send all the information to the WhatsApp groups and through the email. So if you are not registered yet, just try to find the links in the Instagram or in the YouTube channel. So thank you for being there. I hope you enjoy not just this moment, but the planetary moment of the equinox. Just find a silent corner of your house and try to perceive the delicacy of this moment. Thank you for being there. Thank you for your patience. And I hope to see you in 2 weeks' time. Big hug and see you next time.